So in this video, I want to talk about two particular topics when it comes to the recent episode of Mushoku Tensei, final episode for Cour 1 of Season 2, and of course in my previous video I talked about why this arc and this particular Cour is so pivotal in Rudy's growth, in my humble opinion, and basically breaking it down and analysing the strengths and the weaknesses of overall Rudy's growth, and why I just think it's such a pivotal thing, why I was so hyped for it, and understanding that some people do think that I overhype this arc, but at the end of the day I respectfully disagree, and I explain why I disagree on that and go into details about overall his journey and what I think of it and the importance of it. But in this video I wanted to talk about first the changed content, not cut content, not missing content, but the changed content, because this isn't something sliced out and jumped over. This is actually something changed from the light novel. Well, it's changed. The main source material for the anime is the light novels. Yes, there is the web novel, but the web novel is not the main source material, and it is different to the light novels. And there is the manga, which I've seen many manga fans get very vocal and quite angry at me about, because apparently the manga is the superior version in their opinion. Again, you can have your own opinion, but there's no need to get too feisty about it. But hey, some people feel that the manga is better, some people feel that it shouldn't have been changed. And so to explain what was changed, basically when Rudy and Sylphiette get it on, they do the deed, they finally come together to have that tender, sweet moment with flesh and love and passion. Rudy wakes up in the bed on his own in the anime, but in the light novel he does not actually wake up in the bed on his own, and this is why it didn't catch my attention straight away, because it's not cut content. I would have probably picked up on it if it was cut content, but it was actually changed and my brain just didn't twig straight away. But this was a difference. Rudy wakes up in the bed in the light novels with Sylphiette next to him, and they have a little tender moment, and that's basically kind of the end of it. Don't really need to explain. Anyone can put their imagination together with what would generally happen when you wake up with your partner next to you. They have their little moments, their little cutesiness, and then they go from there. But with the change, Rudy wakes up, Sylphiette's missing, and then Sylphiette comes in afterwards, explains, hey, sorry, had to do some things, and then Rudy kind of grabs onto her, and they have that moment. And the reason why I actually, and this is a controversial opinion, I actually like this change is because one of the things that I do like what it did here was actually emphasize on the trauma, because I do feel like some people have underplayed the trauma that Rudy has gone through, playing it as if like it's less of a thing than what it is, and underplaying it. And I do feel like the scene with Ariel where she mocks Rudy for it is actually kind of an interesting reflection that I feel like was put there deliberately to kind of, Ariel is kind of like some of the fan base that mocks Rudy for these issues, like his ED, some of the darker thoughts that he's had, and then Luke being the Chad fan base and people standing up for Rudy and saying, hey, this is a serious issue, this is something that's not uncommon and you shouldn't be mocking it. And I feel like that scene is a reflection of pointing out some of the toxicity of people really belittling Rudy, because this isn't some uncommon thing. And I've mentioned this in a stream with Ed, a psychologist that I do a collaboration with every week, where we discuss about these things and go very deep on these topics. I feel like it's something that gets overlooked. It gets shamed, it gets brushed under the carpet, and people just go, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal because I Google searched the first article I can find that's got information bias, and I basically say that it doesn't exist, and thus means it doesn't exist. I just feel like some people underplay it and completely ignore actually how common this can be. And the reason why it doesn't seem as common is because people are shamed into not talking about it. And it proves it, because Rudy is a clear demonstration throughout the story how ashamed he feels, how timid he is, and being able to finally confide that in Sylphiette allows him to help overcome the first step, because Sylphiette then goes to Luke and Ariel and they help him. So I feel like this particular change in the scene really draws out and emphasizes and highlights the trauma that Rudy has gone through. And you can see it. He's panicking, he's freaking out, he's looking out the window, he looks kind of dead inside. He's thinking to himself, oh my god, she's done the same thing as Eris. Now, to us, the viewers in our ivory tower are looking down going, no, 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 it's all fine, don't worry already. But at the end of the day, he is highly insecure, he's gone through trauma, and the worst case scenario is going in his head, and it's flashing, and it's constantly flashing because she's not there, she's missing. That's all he wanted her to be there. And as much as, yes, maybe they shouldn't have changed it and not done that, and maybe fans wouldn't have freaked out so much, seeing some of the reactions was gold, as anything was really good, but I feel like it really emphasizes and highlights just how traumatic and how painful that breakup with Eros was, and also the bit of a misunderstanding with Sarah. And then when she comes in, she says, hey, sorry, had to deal with some stuff, and then Rudy latches onto her and starts crying and thanks her and says, I'm cured. It really emphasizes the importance of Sylphiette as a character to Rudy, why Sylphiette is so pivotal to his growth, why she is so pivotal to him overcoming these issues, and why she is a top tier waifu and a top tier wife, because she was there, she stuck through him, she didn't belittle him, she didn't judge him, she didn't turn on him, she didn't walk away, she stuck through it and overcame this issue with him, and that means a lot to him, and it really, really impacts on him, and that, I think, really also drives his love and affection towards her even more than ever before. Like, he cared about Sylphiette a lot from the early days of his childhood. Then he fell in love with Fitz, and then finding out that Fitz and Sylphiette are the same person emphasizes that love and affection even more, because, hey, that's my childhood friend that I grew up with that meant a lot to me, and now they've come back and they're Fitz, and I fell in love with Fitz, but they're also Sylphiette, and it's double-decked. And then to see Sylphiette help Rudy overcome this, triple decks it, and just ends up really later on the commitment, the beauty of their love together, and really solidifies that dedication that Rudy has towards Sylvie. It's a real solid foundation of Rudy's just like, I love her, and he emphasizes that with Ariel at the end of the episode, saying, you know, I will do anything needed to protect her, she's the love of my life. So he's willing to help Ariel because, well, she's aligned with Ariel, so if she's in trouble, he will step in to help as best as possible. So that's why he's willing to get into politics when he's not really wanting to, because of that importance. That's how much Sylphiette means to him, and I think that scene just adds on that extra layer. I understand why some light novel fans don't like that change. I actually like the change because I think it's a nice change. But it's not like it changes the very core aspect of the story. It just adds an extra layer to it. It adds some extra development. I don't mind it. I think it's nice. And sometimes it's nice to have little differences between the source material and the anime, so that at the end of the day, if you want to go to the light novels, you can, and you can get a different experience. What I think is not good is when it changes the source material so that it changes the fundamentals of the world, the characters, and the journey, which it does not do. And that's where I stand on it. And I think it just adds something nice. It adds something unique. And I think overall, it's a change that I can get behind. But again, not everyone's going to agree with me, and that is perfectly fine. Now, the last bit to talk about, kind of adding on to this, is was too much content cut? And the answer to that, in my opinion, and again, you don't have to agree with me, I don't think that much was cut in Cour 1 of Season 2. I think, yes, there were some things that would have been nice, monologuing, back and forth scenes between characters, little moments that could have been added in. There were some changes here and there, especially with Volume 7. That's where a lot of the cut content and changed alterations happened. But at the same time, I don't think it's the be-all or end-all. Yes, it would have been nice to have those little extra scenes, but I am not going to kick and scream and say it's the worst thing since sliced bread. And I don't like comparing Season 2 to Season 1, because at the end of the day, I don't know, I just don't really care to compare the two and be like, oh, this one's better than the other. At the end of the day, I enjoyed Season 2, and I think it was a solid experience. I give it a 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. I don't normally rate things, but because I remember what my rating was during Ed's stream, I'll say it here. I give it an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. I think, yes, there were some episodes that could have been improved upon, little tweaks here and there, and maybe that might happen in the Blu-ray, but overall, nothing that I really am going to kick and scream about. And there were some issues with Season 1 if you go back and rewatch it. There were some little things here and there, but Again, nothing is perfect. I think the overall journey was a solid experience, and I absolutely love Mushoku Tensei the story, and I really look forward to seeing anime-only fans experience the second Cour for Season 2 coming out in 6 months, because honestly, this arc is the calm before the storm, because the next arc is going to be juicy, and I look forward to analyzing and breaking them down, not just on this channel but also on Ed's stream as well. So of course I will be covering Mushoku Tensei in the future, now and forward, but also I will be covering some Shield Hero, some Eminence in the Shadow, and also some more Danmachi as more volumes come out, and I feel like breaking down those volumes. And then of course I will be looking at covering the manga series known as Journey's End, or Freyan, which will be coming out in the coming days as well. So definitely look forward to that. Love to know your thoughts, but of course if you like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful nerds in the next video.